Hello and welcome to my next chess video. This time I show you the game between Deep Fritz 14 and Monarch 1.7. I let them play the Grünfeld defense. To be exact, the Botvinnik variation of the Grünfeld defense. Yeah, I know, Botvinnik was probably an amazing guy, but anyway. Okay, not this move. Queen here, and bishop there. So let's go from the get-go. Game started, or I let them play this exact opening position, and this arises after the moves d4, knight f6, c4. Yeah, this moves the Grünfeld here, the center, and this is now called the Botvinnik variation of the Grünfeld defense. Here the main moves are queen here, or rook to d1, but this move is also possible. Probably we have something like, yeah, this I wanted to watch out, and taking there. I don't know, maybe even taking there. No, but then the bishop can take back. Rook takes and bishop takes here, although the knight takes here. And how is this position? It's 2 pieces each, 4 against 5, 4. Probably black is better there. So probably after this, queen here, king takes bishop, queen takes there, then king there probably, and I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, no, black isn't the pawn up. White can just take here, but then after this move, might be tempted to take there, and after takes, to give a check right here. King has only 1 square, and then taking there. Taking there, attacking the knight. We have 4 against 4. No, this doesn't work. The queen has some duties to defend the rook. So maybe bishop there. To attack the knight. Then pawn here maybe. No, but this loses terribly due to that. So I quite like white in that position. So probably not taking there, probably just recapturing. The pawn is pinned anyway. But maybe queen here to attack here. Maybe bishop there. Or e6. But after e6 then maybe that move. Threaten this check. Knight comes in. So let's see what happens if this one. New variation. And probably that one. Taking there. Check. King has to go somewhere. No, wait a bit. You cannot push the pawn. The queen is also holding the pawn. So probably knight takes. Knight takes. Pawn takes. Rook takes. But here I don't know. I mean, black is up a pawn, but white has huge compensation for the pawn. Maybe something like rook here. Threatening the rook. So if rook takes. Now e6 is threatened. Also the rook may come to the first rank. So if this, that, this, that, Kingensen, Schwingensen, check, rook takes, queen takes, king here, takes, check, winning the bishop, and here it's equal on pawns, but black has a checkmate, so white has to be very careful there. Yeah, we have this king takes g7. What now? Queen here, followed by d6, pawn takes, knight takes, pawn here, or even better, rook there, knight takes, bishop takes, rook takes, queen takes there, and then this one. And if queen takes bishop, then we would have this check. If the king goes somewhere on the back rank, then it's mate. And if the king goes there, then let's see, check. King goes here. Yeah, maybe white has to go for the perpetual, because there is nothing else. You can maybe try for something like this. No, this loses a pawn. So what to do here? Check. King here. Yeah, there is nothing, then a draw. Nothing but a draw, so maybe bishop takes. So that after queen takes, then you have this move. There is no back rank mate, and white is threatening that pawn, so black has to play this one to defend with the queen. But then see, something like this work. Queen takes, no it doesn't. Wait, queen here, check. King just goes there, and then there are no more checks. If king here, this is also possible, so this doesn't work. So e5. Yeah, but you can just take it with check. And if king here, then check, winning the bishop. But it's not that easy after all. Yeah, it is, because you have this queen here. So this wins the bishop. But there is no other option, so you cannot take the pawn. You'd have to play something else. For example, bishop there. But then the rook comes in here anyway, attacks the bishop. And if the rook defends, then what? Then you take this pawn. If the queen tries to defend both, then e3 followed by check. But this might not be so bad. Let's see, rook there now. No, this loses the rook due to check, so the rook has to stay put. Maybe a5 or something. Rook check. King goes back here. No, not here, because otherwise this check would come. Now queen there threatening the rook, the bishop. And if the bishop moves, bishop has to move there to defend the pawn. But then taking here, attacking the queen. This is probably very good for white. So we have this queen to f4. Now f6. F6 is another option to defend this. f6. Let's go with f6. This is the game continuation now. Taking here. Yeah, taking here. Knight takes. Rook here maybe. Knight takes. Bishop takes. Queen takes. Rook here. Let's try the obvious first. Queen check. King here. Queen check. If king here, this loses the rook. So let's say queen goes there. No, wait, you cannot give this. You cannot play here. So this kind of doesn't make sense. So probably just take back the knight. Rook takes. And now oppose the rook. Let's say rook takes rook. Rook takes rook. b6. Okay, you can go rook here. No, you can't. Yo, you can. Bishop there. This doesn't work because of that. This is a double attack. So let's say... No. This works. Even this works because you can go queen takes. Threatening mate. No, this is not a mate threat because the bishop is defending it. So queen here threatening the bishop and the pawn with a fork. So black has to give up something. So rook takes rook is not on. At least not b6. But you have to develop pieces somehow. If here, then just queen takes rook there, and yeah, it's a pin. Bishop there. This is an important move. Bishop there first to put the rook on this square and only now play the bishop there, so that the bishop is not defending the rook, so the rook would hang. Because if you go here immediately, then bishop here defends the rook and there is no problem. And bishop here, bishop there just loses a whole piece. So this also is not working. The queen exchange. b6 also fails due to that. And now both... No, well, this one. Maybe. Now the bishop is in the way. You can go here. The rook is still attacked. No, even this works. Even this works because now if you go here with the rook, then there is this check picking up the rook again. So e5 doesn't save black, so this is all not possible. So probably even knight takes... Wait. Knight takes d4, rook takes d4, rook here. This is probably wrong already. So, but what else to do with the rook? If you go here, then takes, bishop here pins the pawn. So if the bishop moves, then the pawn falls. And if rook here, then rook there, and this is a double attack again. So this kind of gambit is very nice. Very nice. Let's see both evaluations. Yeah, we are in this line. Both engines think that... Yeah, well, probably I believe in deep Fritz. 14. It's around equal. Maybe black is slightly better, but I only see compensation for this. So queen e5 takes, rook takes, bishop here, rook here not. Probably you'd have to give up a pawn. No, you can play this one. No, you can't, because again this loses a pawn due to this. But then I don't know. So you cannot go after the next pawn. You have to stop this immediately. Four-5 against 4-5. This pawn will fall sooner or later, and then the endgame, I don't know. Rook takes d4. Let's see, rook takes d4. Queen here. Maybe queen there. Or maybe rook takes. Queen there with a double attack. But then the rook comes to the back rank. You don't even have a check. You can take the bishop though. And now white has no compensation, so you kind of have to defend. This doesn't work due to that. So you have to go here. But then the queen can be annoying. Queen here. No, now the queen is defending the rook. So I will go rook to d1 now. b6 maybe. No, bishop. No, b6 doesn't work again because of that. But then you can play the rook there, because if takes, then takes here with a checkmate. So probably you can play like that. Then h4. Bishop here. Queen takes there. Queen takes... Oh no, the queen isn't attacking the rook. So that's chess blindness. But we have to move queen e3 instead of rook d1. Queen e3. What is this move about? Let's see, e4. To defend the rook. Rook here. A bishop there. I mean, but what exactly is the threat? Rook here would have been more nice. Rook takes, pawn takes, and now bishop now here. Queen there or something. Or queen here was the move, I guess. And if b3, then bishop there, rook here, and queen there check. So maybe not b6, but b5 attacking the bishop. Bishop here, rook there. Now this square is defended. This looks terrible. This looks just terrible for black. This open king here, f6. But okay, we have queen e3. Probably this is a better move. e5. Let's see. Bishop here I will play. Rook there. Rook here. Rook takes. Rook takes. b3 again doesn't really work. Because after this check is again coming. So you might play this move. But then queen here. Pins the pawn, threatens a check. And this is deadly. So both moves are not working. So let's see what the Monarch comes up with. I will smoke a cigarette while watching this game and analyze it and commentate it. The Botvinnik variation of the Grünfeld, the Botvinnik variation of the Semislav. It's amazing. Botvinnik must have been such a good player. So bishop here, we have the move g5. What about h4 here? If takes, then what? Then what? h4 would just to open up lines towards the king. And maybe queen here. What is black doing? Probably rook. No, this doesn't help because the threat is now rook takes here, followed by this queen check picking up the rook. So this is the threat. So you have to do something against this threat. So probably queen here. But then maybe bishop takes here, bishop takes here, queen here check. No, black runs out of steam. So maybe queen here. Threatening check. Taking here and taking there or check. And then the other rook joins in, so this is the threat. So you kind of you need to parry this. But the queen is overloaded. If queen here, then the rook comes in. There's only one square, and then this is mate. So h4 is a nice move. You cannot take it. You really cannot take it. She takes h4 is what the Monarch calculates. I think after h4 white is really much better. No, not much better, but better. Or it's again, it's even. But taking the pawn seems wrong. Just because of queen here. And there seems to be no defense anymore. You'd have to give up the bishop because queen d8 doesn't work because of queen here. Okay, you can play queen here. Defend against both threats. No, but then again, rook takes here is coming, followed by queen here, check, and take the rook. Thank you very much, peace up. We have g takes h4. Now I'm quite interested in the evaluation of both engines. Now it's plus 2.8 after f4 is the move. f4, okay, you cannot take the pawn because the rook would hang. But queen f3, I look queen f3 up later if this is winning as well. f4. So maybe queen there now. But then taking here. Seems to be crushing as well. Rook takes bishop. No, this doesn't work. You take the queen. So rook here. No, again. Wait, let's watch this up. Rook here. Queen takes there. Rook takes there. Rook takes there. Pawn takes here. And both either taking or no, probably rook takes, followed by rook here, check, king here, and push the pawn to victory. King has to go there, otherwise there is this pin coming. So f4, rook takes d5. Queen here. Yeah, I have to watch this up later. We have the move rook takes. After f4 we have the move rook takes d4 instead. Pawn takes d4. Queen cannot take because of this check. This would be terrible. And you don't want to exchange queens either. So I think it's lost. What does the Monarch think about this? Yeah, both engines now think it's over for black. Let's see, queen b6 is still the move. But queen b6 just takes. Rook here, check. It doesn't really matter where the king goes. Probably this is the worst thing of all. Because pawn takes, but it's all bad. Rook is coming in. Threatens this check. And then there are mating ideas. So king here is even worse, or king here. So let's try king there. Takes. And again rook here. And now this pawn is... You have to develop at some point. But where to put the bishop. Putting it there, check. If you go here, then this is mate. So you have to go the other way. But now that this pawn is defended. But what about that pawn? Taking this? Or even leave that. Just push the pawn. Rook takes pawn. Rook here attacking the bishop. Bishop here attacking the rook. Rook here. Check. Going behind the pawn. But push the pawn anyway. I don't know, it's 2 versus 4. It's probably not that bad. Queen takes b6 now. For humans, this endgame is pretty hard to play. No king here, loses. Let's see, even this might be possible. Yeah, we have this rook check. King g8 is what the Monarch thinks is gonna be best. But King g8, also Fritz thinks King g8 is the move. But after King g8, pawn takes, rook there, and it's dead. It's completely toast. Maybe rook takes there, and king here, king there, king here, threatening both mates, so you'd have to go back. No rook there, king have to go back again, and now rook takes here, threatening the bishop. Cannot go there, cannot go there, cannot go there, can only go there. So bishop there. But then the next pawn goes. I don't know. H8. This seems to be lost. These two pawns are just crushing. So let's see. What's the most incisive way? Threatening checkmate. Threatening checkmate. Or just push the pawn. Rook has to go behind the pawn. Pawn here anyway. Bishop takes, rook takes, rook takes. No, but this is not. So you cannot push it. You cannot defend it either. Yeah, no, you can't. So probably pushing is not that great. So probably taking here. Or rook there. Wait, rook there seems to be pretty good. Bishop has no square on this diagonal, so it has to leave. And now you can push it. Because now after this one is just crushing through. So it's over. This is over. I don't see anything for black. This after e takes f5. After f takes e5. F takes e5. Let's see. So I finished my cigarette now. Okay, going after the e-pawn immediately. Rook here. Bishop there we have. And now rook f7 is calculated by Fritz. Now rook takes here. King here. King there. No. Rook f7. Now the bishop is on the threat. So the bishop has to move. Because this check is threatening the bishop. So either you protect it, bishop h5, okay, rook here, check, followed by rook here, but now the bishop is not on the threat because the rook also hangs. So rook here, but this doesn't work due to this. Now it's a checkmate threat, and the bishop is threatened. So you cannot take the pawn, you have to stay put. Let's say you go there. No, this is over. This is over for black. Thank you very much, but this is done. This is brutal. Deep Fritz is on 6.89, and the Monarch also thinks it's lost. He's on 2.69. So both engines think that this is over. Either you check first or you take immediately. Probably taking immediately is better instead of this check, because now the bishop is threatened. You can move it there though. No, you cannot, because this rook is coming here and now taking the bishop, so you also cannot move it there. So you have to move it there or there. Let's say you move it there. Or you could play king there, but then this is coming, threatening mate and the bishop, so this is also not working. So you have to move it away. Say you move it there. No. This check is much better. Threatening mate, so the king has to go back. now just this end game. This is completely winning. This is completely winning. Let's say you go there and just push the pawn. Now you have to defend it. Push the pawn again. Bishop takes, and now pin the bishop to the king. So you kind of have to go there immediately, or no. You have to come closer with the king. Check. Or just push the pawn instead. Push the pawn. King here. Okay, no, not pushing the pawn. Before, check. And if now king here, then pawn there. So king has to go there. The pawn here, and now bishop has to go there. No, pawn push doesn't work. Here you can also keep the two rooks on the second. Okay, we have now, as expected, the move bishop e2. And now not this check, but pawn here. Immediately. So what now? Bishop here doesn't work. Bishop here doesn't work. You just push the pawn anyway. Yeah, bishop here. Pushing the pawn. Bishop here. But now rook there. Pawn here. Rook there. Rook. No. Yeah, rook here. But now rook there, king there. No, rook there, king there. Rook there, king there. Rook takes. Bishop takes. No. No, we have the move rook here. What's a threat? Oh, threatening to win the rook now. So the rook moved to here. Not just this check. King here. Rook there. Oh. Yeah, I see. King there. Rook takes rook. King takes there. Rook goes there, threatening. Oh, this is awesome. This takes rook here, threatening to queen, so the bishop has to take, and now pinning the bishop to the king. Or just even better is that one. Check. And now queening. Yeah, this is also possible. There are many ways to skin the cat now. Queen here, check. King anywhere. Queen takes pawn, or queen takes that pawn even. Is this winning if you take the bishop? No, you just... Why risk anything? Queen here. h3, pawn takes h3, what now? Maybe that move, then queen here, king near the pawn, queen takes bishop, pawn takes bishop, king here, king there, king here, pawn here, pawn there. Why play this? Why to give up the queen anyway? Queen check. Okay. You probably want to take it with the queen. I don't know why. But okay, queen takes. Yeah, anyway, we don't have to wait till this game finished. This doesn't matter. The interesting stuff already happened. Okay, I now have a couple of questions to Fritz regarding this game. So let's ask him. Okay, this is all theory. This is the Botvinnik variation of the Grünfeld defense. Bishop here, pawn takes, bishop takes, pawn takes, queen here, f6, pawn takes, knight takes, rook takes, queen here. So queen e3 or rook fd1. Okay, rook fd1. This was what I was analyzing, rook fd1, but queen e3 seems to be better. Okay, rook d6, e5 we have. Now f4, bishop d5. We have bishop d5, yeah, this is also what I analyzed, g5, h4. This is a good move, h6, g takes h6, f4 or queen queen f3. Seems it's the second best move. This is what I was analyzing. Queen f3, but black can maybe hold this. Queen f3, new variation. Bishop d7. Okay, but what about queen h4 now? Rook f8. Now bishop, queen takes h4, or bishop takes b7. Okay, this is how you defend this. Okay, this was the question. So f4 is just crushing. So what else? If queen b6 immediately, then f takes e5, bishop g4. Okay, you cannot take here clearly because of this check. But what about that? E takes f6, okay, in between move. King g6. Queen takes b6. Rook takes there. Rook takes f1. B takes. And now that move, and this is crushing. So queen b6 also doesn't work, and if you after g takes f4, after f4, if you try to develop the bishop, that's the next question. Where to put the bishop? Probably here. If you try this, then f takes e5. Okay, this is not good, so what about that? Bishop here. F takes e5. F takes e5. Rook here, check. King here. Must be played, because otherwise, yeah, the only other square is... Oh, I was one move ahead. So this doesn't work because of discoveries. So you can go here or here. Let's say if you go here, it's made it in 6. Rook g7 check, queen here check, rook there check, bishop is to block. What? Queen here. Yeah, queen g8 check, king d7, queen here check, king here, rook there, king here, and queen there. So that happens when you go there. The same kind of thing would happen if you go there. And if you go there, new variation, and queen h6. And there is no defense. Rook d1 check. Wait, what? Rook d4, d1 check. Okay, this one. King h2. Rook h1 check. It doesn't really matter. Rook takes. King there. Yeah, there are two kinds of mates threatened, this one and that one. Okay, so that's over. Okay, thanks for watching and see you next time. Ciao.